A second dance and a second chance at the Dirty Foot Club this evening, 7 p.m. in the Dean Dome.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Happy Wednesday to all. Live show for you pregame before NC State tips off over in Chapel Hill. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, it's take two, our second dance with the Dirty Foot Club this season. The previous encounter was a tough 2-point loss in the Lenovo Center. Really felt like you let that one slip away. And that was what seemingly was the beginning of a long 9-game losing streak. We've since won a game, finally. We beat Boston College by 8 points on Saturday. NC State is looking to make it 2 in a row, and picking one up in Chapel Hill tonight would be an emphatic way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. It would not only be an emphatic way to do it, but it's a needed way if there is any hope of making the ACC tournament left. I mean, you talk about, hey, we're at the top of the bottom three, which, wahoo, I guess. But still, being in the bottom three means that you're going to miss the ACC tournament. Syracuse is doing us some favors. They're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. So is Cal in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. But both of those teams still have 5 conference wins to our 3. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to do everything right. And like I said before, the only thing that I believe guarantees it, which mathematically does not guarantee it, it's just a reality of how teams have played guarantee it, is winning out. Winning out, to me, based on what I have seen from Cal, from Syracuse, how their seasons have turned out and all that, winning out would pretty much put you in. It's barring something crazy happening with those two teams. But this is a game where that matters, and it's the Dirty Foot Club. I mean, come on now. If there is not another team, if somebody told me, Ken, the basketball team is going to have to go 2-30 or 2-28, pick 2 games for them to win, those 2 against the Dirty Foot Club. Ken, the football team is going to go 1-11, pick the game that they win. The one against the Dirty Foot Club. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether or not you get into the ACC tournament, what your chances and odds look like there. You eat an elephant the same way you eat a chicken nugget, one bite at a time. And this is going to be a tasty ass bite if you could take a chomp out of those Tar Heels.
It's certainly the game that needs no introduction for Wolfpack fans. And already mentioned, we really let one get away from us the first time we saw these guys in Raleigh earlier in the season. When you're looking at the stakes for these two teams tonight, obviously you have UNC. They're 15-11. For some reason, they're still being considered a probable team to get into the NCAA tournament. I think we all know why that is. It's because they have Argyle on their uniforms. NC State, very oppositely, 10-15. We're 3-11 in the ACC. And we heard Coach Keats say after the Boston College victory that their new goal is to make it into the ACC tournament. If you want to do such a thing, a win tonight would drastically help your chances. And last night on Tuesday, Syracuse and Pittsburgh were playing. Kenton sent me a text when Syracuse was up pretty big early. And if Syracuse would have won that game, it could have served as a hypothetical dagger to NC State. However, Syracuse did not win that game. Pittsburgh came back and won, which is very good for NC State. So that's the type of thing we were talking about. I think it was either Monday or Tuesday. Not only does State need to take matters into their own hands and find a way to win some games, but you need help from additional teams. Pitt gave us a little bit of help last night, being that we still have to play Syracuse, I think either the end of this week or maybe next week. Take matters into your own hands tonight. If you can find a way to go into the Dean Dome and escape with what would be a hilarious win, any way you want to slice it, it would help NC State's chances to get into the ACC tournament. I don't think tonight alone would pull you out of the bottom 3, but I think it'd make it pretty close. But on the flip side of this, you could hypothetically end Carolina's season tonight. And I think maybe that should be really what you're playing for. And I know you want to help your own situation by all means, but it's a little bit tastier when you face these guys. When you know what they're up against, you can knock them out, potentially knock them out of the NCAA tournament contention. Yep. Foot on gas, foot on throat, gas pedal all the way down. That is what needs to be on the bulletin board in the locker room tonight. Take it away from them. All the years that they've been able to dance on our grave and laugh at us and this, that, and the other, how great would it be? And we've all seen that they're handling their lack of success this year. They don't know what to do with themselves. It's full-blown panic mode. They're blame all over the place. All of a sudden, they need to go get a general manager because Hubert Davis can't do it by himself. Add fuel to the fire and find a way to escape with a win tonight. It would be absolutely glorious. Would it fix NC State's problems? No, but it would certainly help you out if you do want to make it into the ACC tournament.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you talk about getting into the ACC tournament and everything along those lines, after this game, the next game that is, again, every single game is important. So let me not understate the importance of every game, but you can build momentum going into the game against Syracuse because you would be half a game back. If you do not lose another game here, it puts you at half a game back because you have won one. And with beating Wake Forest, you and Syracuse would be tied. If you get those two wins concurrently, that is all of a sudden that. And here's another scenario to throw out there. You could beat the Dirty Foot Club, lose to Wake Forest, beat Syracuse, and I believe that still puts you at either half a game back or just even. So, for me, I look at this game and I say this is important for a million reasons. Obviously, it's the Dirty Foot Club. You always want to beat them. Obviously, you have the implications of getting into the ACC tournament. And like you just said, Grayson, as the old saying goes, if you don't get invited to the party, sometimes the best thing you can do is ruin the punch for everybody. And, well, that's not exactly how the saying goes, but we don't want to lose our clean rating.
Talk about upper deckers, folks.
and I'm telling you right now, listen, if I can't have no Kool-Aid, can't nobody have no damn Kool-Aid. Knock it all over. Spill it all over the place. Make sure they put no sugar in it. If you drink Kool-Aid with no sugar, you're a sicko, by the way. But anyway, make sure that it's clear, hey, we want to win for us, but it's a little incentive knowing, oh, how you doing over there? How's that GM thing working out? Oh, you need one? You need a new coach maybe? Who knows? Again, it's always great to beat these guys. And, regardless of the outcome of tonight, I hate to be a little Kevin Keats here, but never let the fact escape you that Alex Nunnally has more ACC championships than Armando Bacot, RJ Davis, and who's the Love kid that plays in Arizona now?
Caleb Love.
Caleb Love. Combined. He has more ACC championships than all those players combined. What a time to be alive.
We got to rain on that parade at the end of last season. It'd be just a little bit sweeter if you get to do it again near the end of this season. Some breaking news here. If you are going over to the Dean Dome, I just saw before we hopped on here, UNC basketball has tweeted, with snow and ice causing travel issues, we are encouraging fans within driving distance to watch tonight's game at home. However, anyone who is within walking distance, no ticket required. So that's free admission. Please bring the energy and fill the Dean Dome. Okay, we don't care about that. We're bringing the energy. I say all that to say it's now free admission to the Dean Dome tonight. They are encouraging folks to stay home if you have to drive in order to get there. How big of a factor do you think that might play on the crowd tonight, Kenton?
I think that it's going to be a very sparse crowd because, number one, Carolina basketball is down, and we know, hey, we get it. You saw a shirt in Walmart, you liked it, you became a fan. Cool. Those people are not going to drive in snow in North Carolina to go to a game. That's just not going to happen there, especially not in a year where they're not good. See, the thing that happens when you become a fan of a team, you're like, oh, that shirt is in Walmart. It's so nice. Or, oh, this shirt is at the gas station. This hat's at the gas station. I think those guys are pretty cool. What happens is you don't develop a deep passion that would have you risking life and limb to go to this type of game, especially when they're not good. Because again, that's the other part of that coin. If you're not a true diehard fan of your school, when they are bad, when they are mediocre, all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'm out. A friend of mine said that she's a fan of whoever is winning. And I said, oh, that must be a nice life. But you know what that also means? You have no vested interest in saying like, oh, I need to be there for this. So I think that the snow and ice is going to have a profound impact on the crowd because, again, I don't think the crowd was going to be a sellout and the place was going to be ruckus to begin with. But now I think it's even more so like, it may be very empty in there because being a Detroiter and seeing snow in North Carolina, I'm always like, what's the big deal? And then I remember I'm in North Carolina. The infrastructure just isn't there to handle this at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be kind of an eerie environment. I really don't know what to expect. And if it's a sparse crowd, perhaps NC State could find themselves in kind of a sleepy environment. And maybe you walk out of there with a win because you took everyone by surprise. We'll have to see how that pans out. Last thing here before we change topics. Our good buddies over at FanDuel, they have Carolina as a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under is 145.5. Kenton, give me your one play for tonight's game.
Ooh, my one play for tonight's game. Give me Dontrez Styles for how many threes is his props? Is it 1.5? What are we looking at?
They don't have. I don't know. Let me see. They don't have threes on here, but they don't even have them on here at all. They have Jaden Taylor total points 10.5, RJ Davis 16.5, Marcus Hills 12.5, and yeah, Dontrez not even on here.
All right, give me Marcus Hill 12.5. I'll take that. I think I'll take that deal. We've already seen it earlier this year. They don't have the best rim protectors in the world. And when Dontrez Styles is hot, he spaces the floor in a way that it makes Marcus Hill go to a whole nother level because it opens up the floor immensely. And I feel like this revenge game for him is going to be a pretty good environment. Give me that Marcus Hill over.
My one play for the night, I'm hammering the under. It's 145.5. We all know that NC State has had immense struggles in scoring the basketball. The last time we played Carolina, the total was 124. So that we're talking like a 20-point difference from the last time we saw them to potentially tonight. I don't see it happening. Give me the under. In fact, I might lay something heavy on that one. Anyway, coming up next, we're going to get into the midweek baseball game that went down yesterday. I have a message for everyone. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. I lost my banner. There it is. Our Wednesday sponsor is TurboTax. Taxes used to be dealing with piles of paperwork and frustrating forms and then waiting, wondering, and worrying if you were going to get any money back. Now, Taxes is easily uploading your forms to a TurboTax expert who's matched to your unique tax situation. This is an expert that's backed by the latest technology, which cross-checks millions of data points for 100% accuracy. While they work on your taxes, you get real-time updates on their progress. And you'll always get the most money back guaranteed. All of this while you go on about your day. No stressing, no worrying, no waiting. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only on iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, last couple minutes here. We're going to keep it quick because we do have a game coming up at 7 p.m. Yesterday, the Pac-9 lost a brutal midweek game to the Flames of Liberty, 9-8 in Raleigh. This is a game, and again, I'll keep this brief. This is a game that you should not lose. You cannot lose, especially when you have a 3-run lead going into the 9th inning and you have Jacob Duden on the mound. But I'm going to tell you this. Number one, and for those of us that are for those of you that were with us last season, what you heard me say a lot was, well, that's baseball. Sometimes that's baseball. Oh, midweek loss? Yeah, that's baseball. That applies again right now. I'm not saying that the loss is okay because it's not. The way that we lost that game was not good. However, you're going to run into teams in the midweek that sometimes they get you. And Liberty is not a bad team. It's not a no-name team from a school or a town you've never heard of. Liberty traditionally has a pretty good baseball program. Outside of the last 2 years, they're a regular team in the NCAA tournament. So I wouldn't even consider it a bad loss, but the way you lost this game, that is what is most painful. I've seen a lot of people chirping Jacob Duden, rough start of the year. It's been a little bit of a rough start of the year, but I'll tell you what, I have literally all the faith in the world that he's going to straighten things out and he will be a dominant force. I'll say this real quickly and I'll pass it to you, Kenton. Jacob Duden has a skill set that very, very, very few people in the country have, and especially for a kid his age. We saw last season, he mowed down the best hitter in the country on the road in a super regional in 4 pitches. This is a now sophomore that can run it up there at 98 miles an hour, bang you out with a slider on the outside corner at 89, sometimes touching 90, 91. Again, very, very, very few people have that skill set. We're talking major league stuff. If there's anyone that I think on this roster that can right their wrongs, it's Jacob Duden. He'll be just fine moving forward.
I think the biggest thing here, right, and I know some people would say, oh, well, this is reminiscent of basketball and that, we thought that guys were supposed to come back and be great and they weren't so far. This is an extremely small sample size. When we did whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something, and we talked about the batting averages, I said, let's give it some time. The sample size is 3 games. If you're going to throw, Duden to the wolves, metaphorically speaking here, after a game or two, what are we doing? He's going to right the ship. I have all of the faith in the world that he's going to right that ship. I have no doubt about it. And here's the other really big thing that I need everybody to recognize here. At the end of the day, I could understand if this was a pattern. I could understand that if every time we see Duden take the mound, we can expect 3 runs to be on the board. I'd be like, hey, we kind of can't have that. We just can't, right? Yeah. This is the exception, not the rule. Now, if this becomes the rule, there's a different conversation to have. But there's a reason he was the top-rated reliever or one of the top-rated relievers on every single site that does that type of thing. It is not by happenstance. It is not because people love Raleigh. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not the case, okay? He has earned the right. I think I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying that the whole Kevin Keys thing, remember last year, but very seriously, you've got to look at the totality of, hey, this is not who he is at a high level. This is not who this team is at a high level. Because how many multiple run leads did we see them blow last year in this situation? And how many have we seen them blow so far this year? Just one? Okay, then. You know what I mean? Like, it's relax, not time to push the panic button yet. I'm not going to lie. The midweek performances last year had me ready to – I didn't push it, but I was lingering over that panic button like, oh, what we can do in Elliott? Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, don't let the midweek struggles of last year make you think that this year will be the exact same. This is just college baseball. And I even tweeted that from the account. Wake Forest got shut out by UNC Greensboro yesterday. It happens. The top-ranked teams in the country, all throughout the regular season, they will get picked off by some no-name school from the middle of nowhere. It is not abnormal. Don't crash out now. Not on February the 18th. I promise you, there's so much more baseball to be played. They will play baseball almost every day from now until the middle of May. So think about how long that is. There's so much time to right the wrongs. Don't crash out over a midweek game in the game 4 of the season. Wolfpack fans should be better than this at this point in time. But that's all I got to say about that. Big weekend for Pac-9. Obviously, they're heading down to Jacksonville, Florida, Alabama, Ohio State, and Coastal. 3 very good opponents. That'll be a much better barometer than a midweek game against Liberty. As I said, we're going to keep this thing brief, so that will do it for us here on Wednesday. A quick little appetizer for you, a quick little sampler before we watch the men's basketball team take on the Dirty Foot Club in Chapel Hill tonight. Hoping for a win. Gut might be telling you something otherwise, but we'll see. We've seen stranger things. It'd be nothing better than to hand those suckers a loss tonight and end their NCAA tournament hopes right there in our hands wearing red. Certainly hope to see that tonight. Feel free to get in the comments. Tell us how you think this thing is going to go tonight. Will NC State cover the spread? Will they win outright? Hammer the over or the under? Let us know your thoughts on that. We'll see everyone tomorrow on Thursday. Probably some post-game thoughts after whatever happens goes down this evening. So until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.